Hi, I'm Robin Davis, and I am in the Clintonville home of Faith Durand, who just released a new book called Bakeless Sweets. We're here today, and she is going to show us how to make strawberry panacotta.
One of the great things about panacotta, which is a pudding that's thickened with gelatin, so it's very easy. One of the great things about panacotta is you can make it with anything. It doesn't have to be dairy. So one of my favorite things to do is to make a fruit puree and use that in the panacotta, as part of the panacotta. So right here I have about 4 cups of strawberries that I chopped, and I'm actually going to put them in the food processor. We'll just get our hands in there and do it, and I'm gonna make a puree of the strawberries, and that's going to be about half of the liquid that goes into the panacotta.
Now, I always thought panacotta was a baked custard, but your whole book is bakeless sweets.
Yes, panacotta is not baked. It's very quick and easy, and it's totally on the stovetop. So now that I have strawberry juice all over my hands, which is fun, all the strawberries right now, you know, they're just about to get really good. So I love things like this that really show off the strawberry flavor. Okay, so we're just gonna let that go for a second until it gets like really as liquid as we can make it. Yay, for a food processor that does what it's supposed to do. So what I'm gonna do now is take the strawberries and I'm gonna strain them, which sounds fussy, but it's not a big deal. You just use a fine mesh strainer.
So the idea is to get the seeds out, right? The
seeds. I personally don't mind having just a little bit of seeds in there. I like that little pop, but you can strain it as fine as you like. Usually the key to straining a fruit puree like this is just to stir and kind of smash it down very vigorously through the strainer here. And now we started with about 4 cups of strawberries, but it's gonna go down to about 1.5 cups of liquid.
Okay. Tell me about some of the other flavors that you have of panacotta and the other puddings in your book.
Yeah, so panacotta is just this great canvas for almost any flavor. I do one with buttermilk. I love trying other kinds of dairy. So I have a panacotta with buttermilk. I have one with sour cream. I have one with no dairy at all, actually, in it. Panacotta is a really great dessert for people who can't eat dairy because almost any other liquid can be thickened with gelatin. So I do one with coconut milk and pineapple juice, and it's kind of that tropical.
That sounds great.
Feel, yeah. When you're making anything with gelatin, it's usually important to let the gelatin sit on cool liquid for a little while so that it starts soaking up some of that liquid. We call it blooming gelatin. It's not a really big deal. You just sprinkle the gelatin on. I'm using about 2¼ teaspoons for this panacotta. So I'm just gonna sprinkle it onto the strawberry puree, and it's kind of fun to watch. If you have kids, it's a really fun thing to have them watch because it'll start out looking like this, kind of white and just, you know, granular, but then it'll make the top of the strawberry puree wrinkle up almost like a brain or in a jar or something. It's just really fun to watch. Okay, so we're gonna use about 1 cup of cream.
Now you do talk in the book about using full-fat creams and yogurt.
I think that these puddings usually taste better if you use a full-fat product, but they can be made with lower fat. And sometimes, especially in panacottas, you'll even get a slightly silkier texture if you use skim milk, so it's fine. Either way, you'll get a different product, but they're very flexible, especially the panacottas. So now that the gelatin is bloomed on the strawberry puree, we're going to bring it over to the stove and warm it very gently over low heat. And at the same time, I'm also going to add the sugar, about 1/4 cup of sugar. And the sugar in this is very dependent on the sweetness of the strawberries. If you have really sweet strawberries, you might want a little less sugar. If they're not so good, if they're early strawberries, you might want a little bit more. And the goal of heating up the gelatin with this sugar is only to dissolve them. You do not want to boil. Boil will destroy gelatin. It means it'll just be soup. It won't be a panacotta. So I just poured in some cream. This is about 1 cup of cream. And then the thing that makes this panacotta a little extra special in my opinion is we also add a little bit of yogurt. Okay. So I have Snowville's wonderful plain yogurt here. I am such a fan of their yogurt. It's so delicious. And grab a spoon here. We're gonna just do about half a cup of yogurt. And the yogurt adds a tanginess to this. It just makes it taste fresh. I think the tanginess is a really nice complement to the strawberries. And you stir that in and you end up with this great pink color, which I just love. Color. That's the other wonderful thing about using fruit in these puddings is you get so much color.
Now you've turned the heat off, right? We're not heating this at all.
We're not cooking this anymore. I'm just whisking this in. And then the final thing for this panna cotta is I put in a little pinch of salt. I think most desserts benefit from just the tiniest pinch of salt. My recipe in the book also calls optionally for rose water, which is a flavoring that's often used in Middle Eastern cooking, and you can find it in, well, you can find it almost anywhere now. Most grocery stores have it in the international section. It's very floral. Obviously, it tastes a little bit like roses. It sort of enhances the flavor of the strawberries, but not everybody loves it. So I leave it as optional, and we're not going to put it in right now. And that's it. Now we're just going to put it into cups and put it in the fridge.
Sounds great.
With the panna cotta, usually panna cotta is chilled until it's firm in an individual bowl. You can do them in big containers and scoop out portions. I really like doing them in individual bowls, and you can do them in small high ones like this, which you can later unmold, or you can do them in super shallow dishes, and the shallow dishes have an advantage because the more shallow the dish, the faster the pudding is going to set.
I like that.
Yeah, these will set really quickly.
Faith, you moved into this house and you've undertaken a big remodeling.
Yeah,
too.
We did. We took an old Clintonville house and really, we remodeled it. It was 9 months of blood, sweat, and tears. We did all of the demolition ourselves, and so the house had a lot of cracked plaster. So we called on our friends. We owe them many meals now, and I know how to wield a crowbar. It's really awesome. But it was worth it.
How'd you pick this countertop? You decided to go with marble?
Yeah, I love marble. And I always really loved white countertops. I grew up with white countertops, and I love how clean they feel. When they're clean, they're clean. And so marble was just the only thing. And also marble is one of the most affordable stones. It looks very high-end, but basic Carrara marble like this is often cheaper than granite. So it was also a budget decision for us.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. We love it. It's really pretty. So often when you have panna cotta in a restaurant, it's not served in the cup like this. It's served on a plate. It's unmolded. And that might look super scary and intimidating, but it's actually really easy. And I want to show how to do that. So I got out a bowl of hot water. This is just hot water from the tap. And usually the way I do this is I rest the little cup of panna cotta in the bowl for maybe a minute or so, and really just let it, all you're doing is slightly melting the outside edge so that it'll release cleanly from the cup. And while it's in there, I'll also run a knife very gently around the outside edge just to help that release a little bit better. It's always scary unmolding panna cotta, especially on, you know, camera. It's definitely firm enough, but you never know. Another thing that really makes panna cotta release cleanly is oiling the cups just a tiny bit. I'll use a little bit of vegetable oil and then I'll wipe it back out again, leaving just the teeniest bit of a residue. Oh yeah, this is starting to release. I can see it. Okay, so let's try this here. Usually what I'll do is also press on it a bit and start to kind of, yeah, see, look, it's gonna slip right out there. There we go.
Oh, gorgeous.
I know, there's a little panna cotta, and if you like, you can put fresh strawberries on the side. You could also take, I have a little bit of that strawberry puree that I made. I have a little bit of that left, so you could always, you know, run some down the side there for like that really fresh strawberry taste. You could also add a little bit of whipped cream if you want to gild the lily, as they say. Don't need any more cream on that, but there you go. Do you want to try it?
I would love to try it.
Go for it.
All right, here we go.
Pink dessert.
That is so delicious. You really can taste the strawberry,
yeah,
but also the yogurt. I love the tanginess of the yogurt with
really
that.
It really complements the strawberry, I think, so well to have the yogurt in there. I love tangy desserts like lemon and buttermilk and yogurt. It's a really great fresh flavor for spring.